This is how millionaires manage money. So late last year, I shared I was running classes for school aged kids on economics and finance, and actually from a biblical perspective and Austrian economic perspective. And I've been running these. I used to run workshops for adults, and then I just found it's just so much easier teaching younger people concepts like uh, selling options, selling covered calls, naked puts, and stuff like that. Show how easy it is. I just found that adults have been, gone through the education system. They've spent their whole years believing a particular way of how the world works and how money works and how the economy works and how to invest, etc. And I just used to get, if it's that easy, everybody would do it, or what's the catch? And so, what, I just don't waste my time with adults. So I've been running these workshops, these classes for university age kids and then high school age kids. And I've had over the years a lot of these youngsters that have come through my program and are now gone through university or college and are now out in the workforce. Some are very, very young, already have significant portfolios and are managing their money, managing their currency, managing their assets, their wealth in a really, really positive way, and not getting into the traps that a lot of young people and a lot of adults do. And it can take a lot of time and a lot of hard work to unwind a lot of the mistakes. So I've shared this with our insiders that I've been doing this, and it's one of the reasons why I haven't been doing as many videos. That and just the commitment in our businesses has really taken up a lot of my time. But I thought I'd actually share with you guys some of the things that I am teaching. So in the classes that I'm currently running at the moment, we've got 10 classes that we're doing, and I like to provide a foundation, especially for new students, a foundation, a solid foundation. And I really, really enjoy these ones because I see kids' brains just explode. It's like they're learning something new for the first time. So the first session is that we do is entitled "What is Money?" And I talk about the difference between money and currency. Uh, you know, Notes, bills, bonds, debt, how money is created, the history of money, and share that also from a biblical perspective, and show it in the real world today. And I actually do a bit of show and tell, so I actually bring some physical gold and silver along and some currency, and we I really, really enjoy doing this one. Then the next one, we talk about the Jewish jar system, something I taught my daughter and her friends. And uh, the Jewish jar system, I'm going to talk a little bit more so later about some of the different money management um, systems out there, and it's very similar to this as well. The next one, God owns it all. Plan your spending, so looking at budgeting and just knowing where your income's coming in, where your expenses, where your outgoings going, giving, saving, and investing. Everybody loves this one. Debt management, our 8 steps to managing money. So this is something we do a lot on, and I'll touch on it shortly. Secret to happiness. I actually do a session on the secret to happiness, and yeah, this is one of my favorites as well. Once again, everyone thinks is I do things this way or that way, I'll be happy. Or if I only have more money, I'll be happy. Or if I get that promotion at work, I'll be happy. Or if I get the right wife or husband, I'll be happy. Or blah 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 blah. And yeah, there's actually one word to the secret to happiness, but I won't mention it right now. And then we look at biblical economic systems. So different economic systems in the Bible. We look at Austrian economics and how there's crossover and how there's a lot of similarities between some of the biblical economic systems and Austrian economics. We also touch on the book of Acts because, a lot of people say, well, that's Marxism and that's where we get Marxism and socialism, collectivism and whatnot. And we touch on that and I dispute, obviously. So they're the different classes. And then once young people have got a foundation of these things, then we start doing more workshops. So we'll focus on saving and investing, where we'll do some classes around, all right, how do we value a stock? Right. Once they've got that, then we go, all right, what are options and derivatives, and how do we use strategies around that? And so we just build and build and build. But you can't go straight to that without having good money management principles and understanding the basis and having a good foundation. So, talking about debt management, how to use debt wisely, how not to use debt, the different types of debt, because debt can wipe people out. The joy that comes in giving, that's one of the best things, best investments I ever make is in my giving. And I won't talk too much about that now, but yeah, all these different things. So once young people have got a good foundation, good skills, then we can start going deeper into this. So then I say to them, well, who wants to be a millionaire? And everyone puts their hand up. Everyone puts their hand up who wants to be a millionaire. I then ask the question, who believes they will be a multi-millionaire? And very few hands, most hands go down. No one believes it. So then I share some Bible verses. Proverbs 13:11, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Proverbs 21:20, the wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends whatever he gets. Proverbs 21:5, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. And Proverbs 30:25, the ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. Obviously, there's so many more when the Bible talks about money and possessions over 2,350 times. So there's a lot to say about it. But people get the picture when they see these 4 verses. Then I ask them, well, have you heard about compound interest? Do you know about compound interest? And we talk about compound interest. They know who that is. They know who Albert Einstein is. But most don't know about compound interest. So we talk about that a little bit. And then I show them this. I say, all right, let's say you started with $20,000. So, a lot of young kids who have entered the workforce, the ones that have come through our program, look at this and do this, and they really do have really nice portfolios now at such a young age. But I say, let's say you started with $20,000. You're working a normal job, getting a normal wage. Let's say you save $400 a month, $4,800 a year, and you invest that at a 10% compound rate over 35 years. So let's say you start that age of 25 all the way through to 60. How much would you have? And I ask the question, what do you reckon? And then I share the results. Just on $2 million. There you go. You're a multimillionaire. And I say to people, and even adults, who believes that they could save $400 a month with a minimum 20 grand to begin with? It's not hard to become a multi-millionaire. And I say, what if you just add an extra 5 years onto that? Let's say you start at 25, you go to 65. Well, instead of having just on 2 mil, you're going to have over 3 mil. Now, let's say you start with a balance of 40,000. Let's say you can save $800 a month now. Over that 40-year period, you're going to end up with almost $6.5 million. that is really easy to comprehend for young people or people who don't have, the financial education that others do. And I share about how simple it is. They don't have to become an investment expert. They don't have to understand macro. They don't have to go get an economics degree. Please don't do that. You don't have to do that. I ask them, do you know who this gentleman is? Most people have heard of him, Warren Buffett. And I share some of his quotes. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. A favorite holding period is forever. I talk about, when you're investing in the share market, stock market, you're buying businesses. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. So I'm already starting to share with them that you need to think about valuing companies, so understanding value from an Austrian perspective, being subjective, and then also looking at the value of different assets. And his advice couldn't be more simple. Put 10% of the cash in short-term government bonds and 90% in a very low-cost index fund. So look, everybody should be doing this as a minimum. Once people get more financial education, more experience, then they can start buying individual assets and maybe individual stocks. Once they get more education there, then maybe they can look at selling options to generating more income, allowing that compounding. Maybe then they can start investing in mining shares. And then once they got more experience and education, then maybe into exploration shares and so on and so on and so on. And I share this chart of Vanguard going back to 1984 through to 2014, where I share that if you had invested $10,000, didn't put anything else in, fast forward to 2014, let's say you close your laptop, computer back then, a desktop, not many people even have. Commodore 64s maybe. In 2014, you'd have $278,000. Right, and then I show them this. I show them the Australian share market, 118 years of historical returns. You can get this from marketindex.com.au. So since 1900, the Australian share market has returned on average 13.21% per annum. It's had, in that time, 96 positive years and 22 negative years. So 81% of the time, the share market goes up. So you want to be invested. Now, once again, for the average person who's just starting out, Warren Buffett's advice is great. 90% in index fund, 10% short-term government bonds. Yep, cool. And then develop from there. And I show them the years that it was down. And then when we get into more advanced lessons, we talk about how, you want to be invested, but then if you can avoid those sharp drawdowns, you can improve your return like the Mark Spitznagel. So, you want to try to avoid, your 1930 type returns, your 1973, 74. Gee, that was brutal. Your early 80s recession, your early 90s recession, and 2008 was another big one. So whether someone sells options for premium, uses that premium to buy put options so they stay invested, buy put options on the index or on their portfolio or whatever, just to protect or whatnot, because you don't want to be, for the average person, for the normal person, you don't want to be in and out of the market. For those of us who do this for a living, sure, very different. But for most cases, for the majority of people, just invest, and just try to build that financial education. That's what I tell them. And obviously, they're learning this for the first time, and they want more. So this isn't something I have to force. In fact, I'm always getting asked to do more of these, and I'm trying not to say yes to this all the time because I just have the lack of time. All right, so when we start talking about our 8 steps to managing money, I'm sure you all heard of The Millionaire Next Door, written by Thomas J. Stanley and William Denko. They in their book. If you haven't read it, by the way, you should do yourself a favor and read it. They found over, I think it was 80% of millionaires in America were first generation millionaires, meaning they didn't inherit their wealth. There was a few attributes about them. They were wise spenders. They set goals. They bought modest cars. They lived on a budget, so they knew, where their incoming was coming in and their outgoing. So they spent less than they made. They saved and invested systematically, right? So this is something I teach people to at least set up your investing so it's systemized, so it's automated. Trying to think, David back is get his book. I've read it. He talks about that as well. Just systemizing it, just automating it. They're happy people, and they choose the right occupation. And I think over 50%. Don't quote me on the exact figure, but I know over 50% of them are small business owners. They're self-employed. So they stay out of debt. They live below their means. They invest wisely and systematically. So taking some of those principles, a lot of my Australian viewers will know about the Barefoot Investor, a very popular finance book in Australia, and he has his buckets and his steps. So step one, having that barefoot date night. Step two, set up your buckets. Step three, dominate your debt. So pay down your debt, especially your bad debt. Step four, buy your home. Step five, increase your super to 15%. So this is increasing your investing to 15% of your income. Step six, boost your mojo to 3 months. So this is your what you'll see what we talk about, your emergency account, etc. Step seven, get your banker off your back. So pay out your debt, pay off your mortgage, etc. Step eight, know your retirement number. So that's really focusing on investing and preparing for retirement. Step nine, leave a legacy. So these are all principles that have been around. Ron Blue, those of you who know Ron Blue, he's got money management principles, basically founded within the Bible. Larry Burkett, a lot of you will know Dave Ramsey, Howard Dayton, even Rabbi Daniel Lapin, all have very, very similar money management principles. And that's because, they work in the real world and they're also found in the Bible. So our 8 steps is what we teach people. And remember, this is people, usually adults who are in a bit of a financial mess. So step number 1 is start with a plan, get on a written budget. So spend less than you make. Otherwise, you just can't get out of the mess. You can't start getting ahead if you don't take charge of that. And there's some biblical verses which support that. Look, I hate budgets personally. So for me, I don't budget anymore. I just allocate and I have it systemized. So as soon as I receive income, bits go into my savings, bits go into, so percentages go into savings, percentage of my income goes into investing and then giving, etc. So, and then do what I like with the rest of it, pay my taxes, do whatever I like with the rest of it. And so I don't think about it. It's not an issue. Embrace giving, start with a tithe. This is something I talk about a lot. Whether you're a believer or not, I do encourage people just to try it. Try giving, being generous. It's amazing how things come back to you. And that's not why you do it. You don't give to get. It's just amazing how you get in different ways. Sometimes it's just you feel good about yourself. Save 1 month of expenses to start an emergency storehouse. So liquidity. Okay, so you want to start building up liquidity if you don't have any. You don't want to be living from week to week. Car breaks down, then you've got to go into more debt to get your car fixed. All right. So you need to start. And it's very hard for people that are in the you know what to do this. So we just say start with 1 month of expenses. Right? And this isn't mortgage expenses, et cetera, et cetera. This is just your living expenses. Then pay off all oppressive debt, smallest to biggest. Everyone talks about the debt snowball. I see it works. I've helped a lot of people through this, and I've seen it work. So I believe in it. Credit card debt, car loan debt, personal loan debt, all that sort of stuff. Get rid of it, and do it. Pay off the smallest one right through to your largest one. Now, for a lot of people, they have liquidity. They have more than 1 month expense. They have no oppressive debt. They're already giving. Cool. You can skip those. Then invest 15% of pre-tax income into retirement savings, automated. So here in Australia, you can salary sacrifice into superannuation. And there's tax benefits for doing that. Concessional and non-concessional contributions in the US, 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, self-directed IRA. Personally, I prefer the US system to Australia, but that's just me. I hear a lot of people, global people, that say Australia is better than US. I like the idea of a Roth IRA where you can, invest in something that isn't taxed while it's being compounded. Then build a fully funded emergency storehouse, 3 to 6 months expenses. And it really is important to have liquidity. Now, you can have liquidity with either currency in a bank account, some physical gold and silver, because that's a very liquid asset. You could do that. In fact, I do. Part of my liquidity is having some physical gold and silver very close nearby to me, as well as some currency as well. But having that liquidity, having no oppressive debt, takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders, makes life a lot more easier. So when things happen, you don't have to sell your gold or silver. You don't have to sell other assets to fund those big expenses. Pay home off early and increase investing to 20% of pre-tax income. Also automate. So those of you might know that and watch this video, Wall Street Secrets revealed what the banks don't want you to know. We talk about debt recycling in this and how we use strategies and teach people, especially in Australia, how to use debt recycling to pay off their mortgage while fast-tracking their wealth creation. So if you haven't yet watched this video, I'll put a link in the description below. But for some people, debt recycling isn't for them, but we can work with people and show them some strategies how to pay down their mortgage faster while also building wealth for retirement, not using debt recycling strategies. So, and if anyone wants to know about that, just feel free to reach out. So, yeah, build, pay the home off early and increase investing to 20% pre-tax income. Where we get the 20% is Joseph. Go read the stories of Joseph. That's where we get the 20%. Joseph in the Bible I'm talking about. And then leave a legacy of faithful stewardship. So teach others. If you guys have this education, and I know all you guys that follow this channel do, teach others. Teach others. You'll become better money managers and better investors by teaching others. That's what I find anyway. So then I share with the kids, 3 steps to fast wealth. So if you do want to become wealthy, the quickest way that I know how is you need to start a business or get into an industry with uncapped commissions, because your income is your most powerful wealth building tool. Then you need to accumulate assets. So rather than accumulating liabilities, I also share with the kids some Robert Kiyosaki stuff, like the cash flow quadrant and stuff like that, so they understand that. I actually do share with the kids some Mike Maloney, especially episode 1 of what's that video series he did, Hidden Secrets of Money. I share video 1, and I do share bits and pieces of his other videos in there. But yet, you need to accumulate assets. So businesses, real estate, stocks, options, etc. I don't put bonds in there because I'm not a big bond fan. But you guys know that I have been buying for over a year now, short-term T-bills. But then it's also important to reinvest those earnings that you get from those assets into more assets and allow that compound growth to enhance your assets. So then I finish it off by sharing a couple of quotes from a couple of people. Counsels of Stewardship, page 148, by Ellen G. White. He says, the desire to accumulate wealth is the original affection of our nature, planted there by our Heavenly Father for noble ends. And John Wesley, who was one of Anglican's founders of the Methodist Church in England, and was much loved and admired. One of his quotes is challenging but wise for all Christians, and that is, Christians should work as hard as they can to earn as much as they can, spend as little as they can in order to give away all that they can. So, yeah, I thought I'd share with you guys a little bit about what I teach kids. As I said, I used to teach adults, but I've given up on them. Really too difficult. I'd rather bang my head against a brick wall. So I teach young people, university and high school aged kids. The current one that I've been doing is 10 to 14-year-olds or 10 to 13-year-olds. I got asked to teach some younger ones, and I was just like, nah, it's too young. So anyway, that's what I do. Hopefully you guys got something out of this, maybe learnt something, maybe not. Maybe just reminded you guys. I know every now and then I need to be reminded about how to manage money God's way and for His glory. I think that's a saying Dave Ramsey has. Oh, I like it though. I think, doesn't he call that the definition of stewardship or something? Managing God's blessings, God's way, and for God's glory. Anyway, I can't remember. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Leave a comment below. I'll see you all again on the next episode of Finance Uncut. And just a reminder, the information provided in this video is for education and entertainment purposes only. Nothing on this channel constitutes as financial advice. The information in this presentation is no substitute for financial advice, and all investors should seek advice from a licensed financial advisor, having regard to your own objectives, financial situation, and needs.